Doctor, good morning, and thanks for your time. And yes, you were one of those people who did ask Minister Naledi Pandor to launch the special inquiry into sexual offences against staff and students as well. So I'd like to know what you think of the outcome and what you think of the suggestions, which include things like a sex offenders register and just a different policy to actually deal with this.
Thank you, Yvette. Obviously, we welcome the publication of the framework, which was sitting there for almost a year. As part of our meeting with the minister on the 17th of April, obviously this is part of the outcome of that meeting. The minister was keen on collaborating with a group of women, non-binary people and allies who wrote the letter. She's still keen and on collaborating with the women in terms of trying to get this framework gazetted and to become one of the central pillars within the higher education in terms of the policy that can influence the culture and ultimately the behavior within the higher education when it comes to gender-based violence. So we do welcome the publication of this framework and also the accountability that seems to be central within the framework.
Have you been able to study it in detail? I mean, obviously you have, because you've made contributions to it as well. What about it do you think might work this time? What are the suggestions or recommendations there that will work this time around?
It seems like this time the document its approach is holistic. Obviously, this is a policy, and we know that South Africa is famous for having good policies, that only end up in the four corners of the page, never see the day of light. But we are hoping, through the collaboration between the higher education department, different institutions, that this policy, in particular with this, the principle of zero tolerance, with the principle of accountability, monthly, quarterly reports and annual reports on this particular issue. We really hope that it is a step in the right direction. Obviously, it will mean a lot when it's eventually implemented so that we can have a standard way of dealing with the gender-based violence throughout our post-schooling system.
And it's not just rape that we are talking about, or the act of rape, Doctor. We're also talking about things like sex for marks, where lecturers are exploiting students as well. So it's not just about being attacked in your res room or being attacked walking alone through campus or whatever it is. There's so much more that this policy or this framework actually needs to deal with on campus when it comes to acts of sexual violence.
No, definitely, because if you look at the framework, it seems to be dealing with, is trying to influence the actual culture of higher education system. It is very much complainant-centered, which is something that we welcome. It talks about the reporting system that can be easily tracked, that can be standardized throughout higher education, because you find out when students report such cases, whether it's sexual harassment, whether it's actual assault, we don't know where the reporting system, ends or starts. So I think this is a welcome change because it seeks to standardize the reporting system, complainant-centered. But at the very same time, we know that this is a behavior that is endemic in our whole society. It is going to take more than just a document, to change the behavior, to change the culture. It will need actual practice and accountability. People seeing people going to jail at some point, so that they can see that this is unacceptable. So there's a lot of practice that still needs to, that we need to see so that we can begin to trust the system, so that we can begin to report more some of these cases.
All right, thanks very much for your time. And that is Dr. Babawa Magakwana. She was instrumental in getting higher education to actually look at the issues and develop this policy framework. Well, let's see if it works. That's what she says. It's the follow-through that matters. Will they see results after reporting an attack? Now,